Hello everybody and happy Thursday. I hope you are doing well. Today we are making Mongolian beef, which I was going to make last week, but I didn't have a chance. So we're doing it this week. I spent kind of the weekend trying to think about how I could make this recipe more attainable. That means using no specialty ingredients and trying to use kind of the cheapest ingredients that I could possibly find to make it. And we're gonna see how it turns out. This one is a little experimental because I have made Mongolian beef before, but I've never made it this way before. Now I do want to mention I am not the expert in Asian cooking by any means whatsoever. I tend to go to Walks of Life when I am looking for a particular recipe, and that's a really great resource if you're looking for some beginner-friendly kind of introduction to Asian cooking. So this is one that I'm adapting off of the Walks of Life website. Again, no specialty ingredients, trying to make it as cheap as possible. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So I decided if I'm going to be making Mongolian beef as affordably as possible, then the first thing I needed to do was find the cheapest cut of meat that I could in the store. In my case, the cheapest cut of meat was this stir fry beef, which was less than $10 a pound. This is a little over a pound, so it was $10.97. But if you have ever made anything with this particular beef, this is bottom round stir fry. It's pretty tough. But one good thing about Asian recipes is that not only do they really have a good grasp on how to make a small amount of meat stretch to feed a family, they're also very good at tenderizing tougher cuts of meat. And they do so with a process that they call velveting the meat. So that's what we're gonna do first. We are going to velvet this meat to make it more tender. So go ahead and grab yourself a bowl and our pre-sliced stir fry. I do appreciate that I don't have to do any cutting myself. That's already nice and sliced for me. Actually, sorry, one thing I wanted to do first. Very easy though. I just wanted to take these and cut them in half lengthwise because these are quite long strips and I want them to be about 2.5 to 3 inches long. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna put it in a bowl. To this, I'm gonna drizzle in a small amount of oil. I'm just using plain vegetable oil. I'm also gonna add in a splash of soy sauce, maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons, a 1/4 cup of water, and the secret ingredient to velveting is a small amount of baking soda because we're actually using the baking soda to make the meat more alkaline in pH rather than more acidic. The thing is with baking soda though is you don't want to use too much or it's going to give your beef a metallic flavor. A 1/4 teaspoon is more than enough. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to massage our beef. Try to get all of those ingredients well incorporated. Massaging is also part of the velveting process. And once that's all massaged and incorporated in, that's what we're looking like. That is a little on the drier side, so I'm gonna add a little bit more water to that. Not much, just a splash, just enough to make sure that the beef is well hydrated. It should look nice and wet like that. Now we're gonna cover up that marinated beef and we're gonna pop it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes, upwards of an hour if you have the time. I was gonna pair this with rice, but I'm actually feeling like making some noodles. And another way you can save a little bit of money on making takeout at home is to just use spaghetti in place of like lo mein or chow mein noodles because those can be pretty expensive at regular grocery stores. If you have an international store, you might be able to get it a little bit cheaper, but generally speaking, those specialty pastas can cost a good bit of money. And I've just been using spaghetti to make lo mein recently. It's been working out really good. Besides spaghetti, sometimes what I'll do is just use ramen noodles, but without the seasoning packet. I just happen to have spaghetti today, but that might even be a little bit cheaper to use ramen noodles instead of spaghetti. If that's what you have, feel free to swap it in. Plus, ramen only needs a couple of minutes to cook, so that's also an option. If you're using spaghetti, you're gonna wanna undercook your noodles ever so slightly. So I only boiled mine for 8 minutes instead of my usual like 10 to 12. And then you're also gonna rinse them under cool water to stop them from cooking and also stop them from sticking to each other. Your cooked noodles can go in the fridge until you're ready to make dinner alongside your marinating beef. For our veggies, for our Mongolian beef, we are doing onion, yellow, green onion, and this isn't traditional, but the Mongolian beef that we used to order at our local restaurant came with bell pepper. If you want to make it spicy, you can also add in some Thai chili peppers or any kind of hot chili pepper, or you can leave that out for a mild Mongolian beef. So I'm going to start with the green onion. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut about 1-inch pieces. These first 2 cuts, these are going to be the whites of the onion. We're going to set those aside separately. Then we can go ahead and cut the rest of the green onion into 1-inch pieces as well. Go ahead and set those in a bowl. For our yellow onion, I'm only going to be using half, because this is quite a big onion. If you have a smaller one, you can use the whole one. This is quite a large onion. And my magic ratio is 2 bell peppers to 1 onion. So since I'm using 1 bell pepper, I'm only using half of an onion. I'll save the other half for something else later on this week. And then I'm also going to thinly slice my bell pepper as well. I am gonna add a couple of Thai chilies to it just because I know Michael likes it a little spicy. These are pretty inexpensive. They're usually around $2 and they freeze really well. So if you wanna pick some up for something like this, but you don't really have any other uses for it, just freeze whatever you don't use. All I'm doing is just gonna cut the tops off of each one, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to be adding my Thai chilies in with my whites of my onion. And as you can see, there's a lot of green and white kind of going on with this dish. Our beef has marinated. Let's go ahead and grab it out of the fridge, and we can grab our spaghetti noodles as well. And the very last thing that we need to do before we can cook our beef is just to give it one final kind of dredge in cornstarch. That's just gonna coat each piece in like a little bit of crispy goodness that can soak up all of that sauce. And it also stretches the beef a little bit further because it's going to increase the volume of each piece of meat. I'm just kind of dredging it in small batches just to kind of coat each piece, but I'm not doing it one at a time like I've done in the past. I feel like that's too much work, especially when the beef is small like this. So all of my beef is coated. Definitely have cornstarch everywhere. That's all right. Easy cleanup. And the very last thing that we're gonna prepare is the sauce. And again, the sauce is really simple. I am increasing the sauce a little bit to account for the fact that we're gonna add noodles to it. I don't want it to be dry. So we're gonna start with a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar, 1/2 cup of soy sauce, 1 cup of water, a spoonful of minced garlic. I'm just using the garlic in the jar. Keep it simple, keep it quick and easy. And a spoonful of ginger, which I also buy kind of pre-minced, just easier that way, and I never have to worry about it going bad or anything like that in my fridge. It's kind of similar to a teriyaki sauce. So if you want to think about Mongolian beef as being like a beef teriyaki instead of a chicken teriyaki, it's not that far off. A lot of the distinguishing factors are the vegetables that go into it. I've also gone ahead and heated up some oil. Let's test and see if it's hot enough to fry our beef. Oh yeah. We can start dropping that in there. We're not going to overcrowd this. Oops. We're going to fry our beef in a couple of batches. And it's only going to take a couple of minutes per batch. Very similar to how I made the Panda Express Beijing beef in a previous episode. Give them a toss. Again, this only needs a couple minutes, just long enough till it's nice and browned and crispy. That looks good. And I'm going to continue that process, and I'll let you know about how many batches I did. All right, so that was 4 batches, which isn't too bad. Again, they only take a couple of minutes each, so about 10 minutes of frying. That is just 1 pound of stir fry meat. All right, we're gonna go ahead and dump off this oil into a metal bowl. Little bit left in the pan, and we're gonna keep this on a pretty high heat. Can add back in about a tablespoon or 2. One thing with making stir fries is that you can't be afraid of heat. You have to work on a pretty high heat, otherwise it's not going to crisp up the way that you want it to. It takes a little bit of practice, but again, we're going for it's just about smoking. Perfect. I'm going to add in my chilies and white onion, the whites of our green onions. And I'm switch over to a spatula real quick. Then we can add in our bell pepper and our onion, the yellow onion. Because I am adding noodles, this is the point where I'm going to add the noodles. Otherwise, if you're not doing noodles, if you're doing rice, you would skip this step. There's our cold spaghetti. So I don't have a wok, but as you can see, I kind of use my skillet as a wok. I do a very similar motion. Still on high heat, I'm going to pour in our sauce mixture. And then I totally forgot to prepare cornstarch slurry, so I just went ahead and did that real quick. Add that in so the sauce can thicken up. And the very last thing to go in just prior to serving is going to be our beef, which I actually think I have more beef than I need. And we can't forget our greens of our onions. And just get that beef all coated in that sauce. And that is pretty much our final step. I'm gonna plate the noodles up next to the beef. They do kind of stay separated in the pan a bit, so. But there is our Mongolian beef with stir-fry noodles dinner. If you're a fan of beef and broccoli, you'll probably really enjoy Mongolian beef. And now, moment of truth. We have a couple of questions to answer. Number one, is this Mongolian beef as good as the Mongolian beef we get from the takeout? Probably not. But were we able to take that really inexpensive stir-fry bottom round beef and turn it into something more tender? Spoiler, I do already know the answer to this question because I tried some of it while I was frying. Fried beef is like a weakness of mine. I absolutely love it. That is perfect. It could use a little more heat, but that's just because we really like spicy foods. And I think it really serves as a testament that when you do the right steps when it comes to steak, you don't have to buy the expensive flank steak or skirt steak. You can get away with using cheaper cuts as long as you have the time and patience to kind of let it marinate so that it can really break down those fibers and turn it into something a lot more tender. And of course, we gotta try our stir-fried noodles. Those noodles actually turned out really good. Yeah? Not overcooked or anything. So, the people love your reviews.
Oh yeah?
They do.
They do, huh?
How was my Mongolian beef?
It was pretty good. It was very good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was really good.
The beef was...
The beef was super tender. I like the sauce that you put on it.
Yeah?
It was good.
What about my mock chow mein?
I mean, I'll always like chow mein more, but it was good. It was good. I liked it. It was very saucy.
He took one bite of it and was like, this is spaghetti, isn't it? Like, he knew. There was no passing it. I think maybe ramen might have been. I don't know. Do you think ramen's...
I don't know, because ramen is undeniably ramen, too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what noodles they use. But
I mean, they use chow mein noodles, but those are expensive.
I feel like you've used those before, though, and it still didn't turn out the way it normally does at a restaurant.
No, because I used the dried chow mein noodles that you get at like the grocery store, and they use fresh chow mein noodles, which I have to get from a specialty store, which, you know, again, can be expensive. But on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd give it a 9.
9 out of 10? He cleaned his plate and my plate, so I think that is a good, honest review. Dinner number 5 of my weeknight dinners. Well, I don't know if this one really counts in, I don't know. That one was a little more effort, so I don't know if it really counts in weeknight dinners. It's still really good. It's a good way to feed. It makes 4 servings. I was able to make the 2 plates that you guys saw and pack up 2 additional servings for lunch tomorrow, which we'll just have with white rice. And otherwise, this one turned out really great, and I would 10 out of 10 make it again. I don't think it was that complicated or time consuming, and again, I tried to only use basic ingredients, nothing like specialty, and tried to make it as low cost as possible. So hopefully it felt very attainable to you guys. I tried to make it feel very attainable. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon.